The fourth question, Mr. Sin Chung Kai. Mr. President, investment-linked assurance schemes, ILAS, are long-term investment cum life insurance products, and the related policy values, and many also include death benefits, are subject to investment risks and market fluctuations. The Security and Futures Commission, or SFC in short, pointed out in the circular clarifying the licensing requirements arising out of the promotion, offering, or sale of investment-linked assurance schemes to the public, or the circular in short issued on the 13th of August 2009, that even if the underlying funds selected by ILAS policyholders usually are securities, advising or making recommendations to ILAS policyholders concerning the selection of funds does not constitute advising on securities as specified in Schedule 5 to the Securities and Futures Ordinance. SFC is of the view that the insurers, corporate insurance brokers, and individuals who are insurance agents or insurance brokers collectively referred to as insurance intermediaries are not required to be licensed by SFC under SFO by virtue of their engaging in promoting, offering, or selling ILAS to the public. In this connection, the government informed this council, 1, whether it knows if SFC, since the issuance of aforesaid circular, has changed its policy on regulation of ILAS products, if SFC has of the reasons for that, and the details of such changes. 2, given that ILAS involves fund investments, market risk, and interests of policyholders, whether it knows the justifications of SFC for not regulating the sale of ILAS, including advising the policyholders concerning the selection of funds by insurance intermediaries, and not requiring such persons to apply for licenses for engaging in relevant activities. And 3, whether the authorities will step up regulation of the selling activities of this kind of investment performance-linked insurance products, including enacting legislation to classify relevant selling activities as regulated activities under SFO, so as to better protect the interests of the policyholders of this kind of insurance products. If they will, of the details, if not, the reasons for that. The Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury. Mr. President, as for Part 1 and 2 of the question, investment-linked insurance schemes, or ILAS in short, are insurance contracts under the Insurance Companies Ordinance Cap 41, and insurance contracts are deliberately excluded from the definition of securities under the Securities and Futures Ordinance, or in short SFO. Therefore, insurers or insurance intermediaries engaging in promoting, offering, or selling ILAS to the public or advising members of the public on ILAS are not, by virtue of those particular activities, required to be licensed under SFO for the purpose of advising on securities or dealing in securities. Under the current self-regulatory regime for insurance intermediaries, intermediaries selling ILAS must be registered with a self-regulatory organization and have passed the relevant ILAS examination. As for Part 3 of the question, to enhance protection of the policyholders of ILAS, the Office of the Commissioner of Insurance, or OCI in short, has rolled out a number of measures since 2009, including new regulatory requirements made last year. Relevant measures include on ILAS products. Products should comply with the principle of fair treatment of customers. Charges should be fair and commensurate with the insurance protection offered. High charges are not allowed for an ILAS product carrying only minimal insurance protection. Customers need to sign the important facts statement, which contains those product features that may be easily overlooked by policyholders, such as fees, surrender charges, contribution amount and premium terms, etc., to enhance disclosure at the point of sale. And the offering of gifts for sale promotion is prohibited. On intermediaries' remuneration and disclosure. Products must adopt a uniform method for calculation and disclosure of the remuneration received by the intermediaries, and indemnity commission to intermediaries by insurers is not allowed. On suitability assessment, Intermediaries must perform suitability assessment of customers and then, according to the financial needs and risk appetite of customers, analyze and compare different choices of product which suit their needs, and intermediaries should not recommend any ILAS products to customers who do not have both investment and protection needs. On post-sales controls, where there is objective information showing that the customers do not have needs for or are not suitable to procure ILAS product. For example, the risk levels of the chosen funds are higher than the levels of risk of customers can bear, and they did not provide any explanation in their own handwriting in their applicant's declaration, which is duly signed. Insurers could not accept applications for these customers. Insurers are required to make audio recorded post-sale calls to all ILAS customers, confirming that customers understand the content of the ILAS products they procure, as well as their rights and obligations before they procure the ILAS products. And policyholders can cancel the policies within the 21-day cooling-off period. We believe that the number of complaints will continue to drop with the implementation of new regulatory requirements on product design and the sales process introduced by OCI. OCI will keep in view the latest market development from time to time and examine the effectiveness of the regulatory measures. Moreover, the Legislative Council is scrutinizing the Insurance Companies Amendment Bill 2014 for the establishment of independent insurance authority, or IIA in short, and introduction of a statutory licensing regime for insurance intermediaries to replace the existing self-regulatory regime. In future, insurance intermediaries must obtain license from IIA. If a licensed insurance intermediary is found to have committed misconduct, IIA may impose disciplinary sanctions. This would further enhance the regulation of insurance intermediaries and strengthen consumer protection. Mr. Sin Chung Kai. Mr. President, the Secretary has not answered part 2 of my question. My question is what justifications are there for not regulating the sale of ILAS by insurance intermediaries? Your reply is that the products have been excluded by the SFO, that is government policy, that is division of labor. But the question is very simple. I hope he understands my question. The ILAS products has only 1% which is of insurance nature, whereas 99% are just the purchase of an investment product. The intermediaries understand insurance products, but they don't understand investment products. Now, the intermediaries are not regulated by SFC. That's not correct. You say they're excluded. Why are they excluded? The Secretary. Mr. President, with regard to ILAS, there are a variety of them. Some, like what Mr. Sin describes, this is so-called 101 policy, as described by Mr. Sin. After a number of measures which we have introduced, after the measures introduced by OCI, in the market, there is basically no 101 policies. There are, as for effective ILAS or valid ILAS, they are protecting a higher level of insurance, high level of protection to the policyholders. ILAS can have insurance elements, very high insurance elements and very low insurance elements. The OCI should be given full authority in regulating ILAS, both the products and also the sale procedures should be regulated by the OCI. As for SFO, as for the SFC, it is one of the collective investment schemes. The SFC should be involved in approving the sales and promotion documents. Under the present policy, we think it is appropriate. And we will, of course, review or monitor the development in the market. And we will continue to enhance regulation and protection to investors. My question has not been answered. My question is very simple. The SFO requires qualified persons to sell regulated products. The SFC decides on whether the products can be sold or not, and after that, the products are sold by unqualified intermediaries. They are not, the insurance intermediaries are not trained to do that. Why is there a loophole? I've already explained. Say, for example, the ILAS has different elements, investment element and insurance element. The IIA will regulate the insurance products comprehensively. The SFC has a role to play because of the investment element. But who is to take the lead? We are of the view that OCI is a suitable institution to be the main regulator. But the regulators do have communications to ensure uniformity in regulation. Mr. Albert Ho. Mr. President, the SFO has a very important policy objective, and that is to regulate the sale of financial products and also to regulate the qualification of those who engage in the sale. There is the FC, which is tasked to conduct investigation and enforce the law. Now, they allow some financial products with added insurance element, say, for example, 1%, 3%, or 50%, to be sold by intermediaries who have not been trained in respect of investment products. And when a complaint is made, the complaint is to be made to an authority which has no knowledge about investment products. It's just less than the Lehman Brothers incident. It is a loophole. You say there is a new law, but the IIA will only commence operation after 2 years. The concern is about ILAS. Is there any way on the part of the administration to plug this loophole so as to protect their customers so that they will not be misled into buying unsuitable products? Even if those who have bought the products, they don't know what have they bought. I fully respect the view of the member and the government. But the administration is facing this issue squarely. With regard to the complaint against ILAS, we have noticed an increase in complaints, and therefore we have focused our attention on regulating them. I've already referred to the measures led by the OCI. The OCI takes the lead and work with the SFC to combat these breaches. And there are post-sale controls to make sure that the customers will not be misled by dishonest misrepresentation. As for the complaints received by the OCI, after the measures have been introduced, the number of complaints has declined. In 2009, 540 about ILAS. The number declined to 350 in 2014. In 2015, in the first 5 months, the average number of complaints is 24, a decline of 17 in comparison to 2014. After a series of new measures, has been introduced. The sale of ILAS, the complaint against ILAS products has declined. So there is a reduction in misrepresentation or misleading conduct done by the intermediaries. With regard to mis-selling, a complaint against mis-selling, they are not related to ILAS. They are related to the design of the product, or they are related to commission. The intermediaries are lured into misleading their clients. Mr. Chen Kin-po, with regard to the problems arising from ILAS, the government has taken a number of actions, including remuneration and also product design, in order to reduce the problem. As for supervision by the OCI, the insurance sector hopes that there can be a license. In the past, the SFC does issue licenses to the insurance companies, and the insurance companies did encourage the intermediaries to obtain a license by sitting for the examination. Suddenly, the SFC canceled that. You plug the loophole, and there is voice recording. The insurance companies will be held liable. But in the long term, we still hope that there can be such a license. I hope it can be done by the OCI or the future IIA. I think there is a consensus on strengthening the sale of ILAS, and the licensing is necessary. How are you going to do that? I hope you can give us an answer. And I hope that can be done by the OCI or IIA instead of having many authorities. The Secretary, we tend to let the insurance authority to do that. And we are focusing on sales complaints. We focus on the problems, and we targeted the problems. And we will, of course, review the situation from time to time. Mr. Leung Kok-hong. Now, I heard from Professor Chen that the number of complaints has declined. Before the bursting or the busting or before the Lehman Brothers went bust, people queued up to buy such products. One industry is regulated by several authorities. That is unclear division of labor. Is there any way to deal with the problem? But you seem not able to answer the problem, the question. Should it be done by the OCI or should it be done by other authorities? The intermediaries, insurance intermediaries, may not be able to understand the risk of the investment products, and you don't require professionals to sell such products. Will there be a uniform, a single authority, and will there be strict examinations? With regard to insurance products, in particular ILAS, we think the OCI should be the main regulatory authority. Financial markets are linked. Therefore, in the regulatory regime, we stress uniformity and also communication among the regulatory authorities. As for the regulation of intermediaries, at present is a voluntary scheme. With the setting up of the IIA, there will be a mandatory licensing system. Intermediaries will be subject to rather strict disciplinary sanction. That will help to enhance professional requirements. Mr. Sin Chung Kai, I think you have failed your duties Now, there was a change in 2009. Originally, the SFC required licensing, and insurance companies also encouraged intermediaries to take licensing examination. And after 2009, and then afterwards there were a lot of ILAS products, and then there were a lot of complaints, and then you introduce measures in 2011 until 2015. Many people lost their money. That's dereliction of duty. What is your question? Is there any reply from the Secretary? I can only stress that under the SFO, there is a prescribed scope or of authority under to be looked after by the SFC. With the there is no change since then, since the enactment of the SFO. Mr. Ng Kok Hong, now you've changed the law. That's the problem. A policyholder wants retirement protection or wants to have an estate to be left over to somebody else, and that has confused with the objective of enhancing the value of one's assets. Now 5 years have elapsed. There has been no adequate protection. Is it dereliction of duty? Mr. Leung, you have asked question. Mr. Chairman, I'll put it once again. 5 years have elapsed. People have lost money. Who is to compensate them? Is there any dereliction of duty on his part? Let me clarify this. Now, concerning the complaints against ILAS, what are the major problems? 35% of the complaints are related to the description of the policy, 29% about product suitability, 15% about the sales procedure. These are about the integrity of the intermediaries. And the problem, to a certain extent, is about the self-regulatory or the self-regulatory structure, which is not effective enough. Therefore, our policy targets at this. And after that, after the introduction of the relevant measures, the number of complaints has declined substantially, and the unsuitable ILAS products have also declined. With the setting up of IIA, the regulation will be in the interest of the consumers. Mr. Leung, well, if somebody is dead and after post-mortem, this is not a debate. You have to sit down. We've spent more than 23 minutes. Have exceeded the House rules.